Hello everybody, welcome to KPIS Delhi's CARE initiative, Current Affairs through Reverse Engineering. These are the articles that we'll be seeing today. Let us look into the first article for the day. Archaeological Survey of India to delist some lost monuments. So the context is that the first large-scale delisting exercise in several decades by ASI, that is Archaeological Survey of India, has raised questions about the significance of delisted monuments and the implications. Okay, so this ASI is actually trying to delist 18 centrally protected monuments. Now, what are these centrally protected monuments? Centrally protected monuments are those structures that are more than 100 years old and are considered to be of national importance. All right. And what is this delisting? Delisting of monuments refers to the removal of specific monuments and archaeological sites from the list of protected sites that the ASI maintains. Okay. Once these monuments are delisted, they no longer fall under the purview of ASI for conservation and protection purposes. All right. Now you have to know two terms. One is the lost monument and the other one is untraceable monument. What does ASI mean when it says untraceable? When ASI refers to a monument as untraceable, it means that the physical location of the monument cannot be determined or verified. Okay, that's about untraceable monuments. And second one are the lost monuments. The Ministry of Culture has reported to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Transport, Tourism and Culture that 50 of India's 3,693 centrally protected monuments were missing. And the disappearance of these monuments was first noticed in the year 2022. Okay. In the year 2013, a report by CARG actually stated 92 of the centrally protected monuments across the country had gone missing. However, there was no comprehensive physical survey of all the monuments conducted after independence. Okay, so that's the issue. So you clear with the context, lost monuments concept, untraceable, and what is a centrally protected monument, and what will happen once a monument is delisted. Now some basics about ASI for prelims. Archaeological Survey of India is under the Ministry of Culture and it is the premier organization of for archaeological research and protection. Okay, and it was founded in the year 1861 by Alexander Cunningham, the first Director General of ASI, and this Alexander Cunningham is also known as the father of Indian archaeology. And the ASI administers more than 3,600 ancient monuments and archaeological sites and remains of national importance. Okay. Consider the following statements with reference to the Archaeological Survey of India. If there is no local or public knowledge about the existence or location of the monument, ASI may consider the monument as untraceable. Yes, this is correct, because what are the grounds that the monument can be declared as untraceable? One is loss of physical landmarks, second is lack of historical records, third is no surviving public memory, that there's no surviving public memory, that is the third. Fourth one is destruction or alteration, and fifth one is inaccurate records. So these 5 things will be considered to declare it as untraceable. Okay, so this is right. The Archaeological Survey of India is an agency under Ministry of Finance. This is absolute nonsense, so this is wrong. Which of the above statements is correct? The first one is right. With reference to the Indian history, Alexander Rea, A.H. Longhurst, Robert Sewell, James Burgess, and Walter Elliot were associated with. All of them are archaeological surveyors of that time. Okay, and this A is the right answer. See, if you do not know any of these surveyors, but when you're reading Vijayanagara Empire, you'll come across this name, Robert Sewell. He has also written a book, A Forgotten Empire, Vijayanagara, a contribution to the history of India. If you know that, if you've read Vijayanagara Empire well, this guy's name you will remember. And out of all the options that are present here, this one will be relevant? Option A. Alright, so remember this book and the author. Employment scenario in India. What is the context? India Employment Report 2020 highlights concerning trends and challenges that India is facing with respect to workforce. So, who released this report? It is ILO, along with Institute of Human Development. Okay, because it's India, it is not Niti Aayog nor some Indian institution. It is released by ILO. Okay, so this is first thing. For prelims, what are the other reports that ILO releases? One is India Wage Report, Future of Work Report, World Social Protection Report. Fourth one, World Employment Social Outlook Trends. Okay, please remember India Wage Report, Future of Work Report, World Social Protection Report, World Employment Social Outlook Trends. Okay, so we saw the name of the report and the organization which published it. Secondly, we'll come to some statistics that are important for prelims. The report says that India's youth account for nearly 83% of the unemployed workforce, with the proportion of educated youth in the total unemployed population nearly doubling from 35% in the year 2000 to 65.7%. That is approximately 66% in 2022. Okay, did you understand? See, it says that 83% of the unemployed workforce is attributed to India's youth, and the total proportion of educated youth in this unemployed population has nearly doubled. Okay, that is what it's saying. This is one important thing that you have to remember, this one and this one. The other one is, despite some improvements in labor market indicators, the fundamental challenges persist, including insufficient growth in non-farm sectors and the ability to absorb workers from agriculture. There is insufficient growth in non-farm sectors, and the ability to absorb workers from agriculture is also low. Okay, now for prelims, LFPR, labor force participation rate, or just labor force. Labor force, worker population ratio, and unemployment ratio, these are important. What is labor force? Labor force participation is number of employed plus number of unemployed people in the total population. Okay, who are seeking, see, employed plus unemployed people who want to work to the total population. This ratio is called labor force of the population. Now, what is this worker population ratio? It is number of people who are actually employed to the total population. Employed. See, here it is employed plus unemployed people who are seeking work. Here it's only employed people to the total population. All right. And unemployment rate is number of people who are unemployed by not the total population. It is labor force. This you have to remember. See, here you will take the ratio with respect to total population in these two. But here in the unemployment ratio, you will take the ratio with respect to labor force. Alright? Consider the following statements with reference to India Employment Report 2024. According to the report, India's youth account for nearly 83% of the unemployed workforce. Yes, this is correct. The proportion of educated youth in the total unemployed population nearly doubled from 35% in 2000 to 65.7% in 2022. This is also correct. These are two important numbers that we've seen, right? So, C, because they're asking the correct statement, C is the answer. Disguised unemployment generally means marginal productivity of labor is zero. We have already seen in the previous care videos. Disguised unemployment is, see, if there is a bit of work that has to be done and 5 people are sufficient to complete that piece of work, However, 10 people are employed to complete the same amount of work with lower wages. Okay. And what is the productivity, marginal productivity of labor of the extra 5 people? It is 0, right? So that is disguised in employment. It seems like they're employed, however, the marginal productivity of labor is 0. It isn't affecting the outcome, right? So, yeah, these are extra people working. More efficient use of phosphorus could extend reserves for over 500 years. The context of this article is that a recent study was published by Nature Food and it has actually highlighted this point. Okay, is phosphorus being wasted? The answer is yes. How much is it being wasted? Approximately 10,556 metric tons is being wasted annually due to excessive use and farming practices. Okay, and this wastage, this is important, and the next fact is also important. This wastage is dominated by wheat and grasslands in Europe and maize and rice in Asia. Okay. It is not only about wastage, but it also poses a risk of phosphorus leaching into the water, and it can potentially cause what? Eutrophication. This is first one. Second one, see, the worldwide population is forecast to reach approximately 10 billion by the year 2050, and it requires an estimated 500 million hectares of arable land to feed this increased population. And unless we use phosphorus more efficiently and we protect the soil health, we cannot actually meet this expectation, or we cannot ensure food security of this population. The study actually emphasizes that. So the study says use phosphorus judicially in whatever way you can. With the current wastage, phosphorus reserves would only last for another 77 years. That's all. So they're cautioning us. According to a recent study published in Nature Food, more efficient use of phosphorus in agricultural practices could extend the limited reserves of this vital fertilizers to last for more than 500 years. Which of the following best summarizes the main finding of the study published in Nature Food? Okay. Phosphorus reserves are expected to last for 500 years regardless of agricultural practices? No. This is wrong. That means this is gone. This is also gone. 3 is common. Do not read 3. 2 and 4. Agricultural practices have no impact on the longevity of phosphorus reserves. This is also foolish, right? So, C is the answer. Among the following crops, which one is the most important anthropogenic source of both methane and nitrous oxide? It is rice, because rice, we know paddy fields are a major source of methane, right? And nitrous oxide is also produced. ISRO's POEM-3 mission accomplishes zero orbital debris mission. The context is given and the news snippet in a single sentence. Now, what is this POEM-3? It is PSLV, Orbital Experimental Module 3. So, ISRO has achieved a significant milestone with the successful completion of this PSLV Orbital Experimental Module 3 mission, which has left practically zero debris in the orbit. Okay, some basics. 1. PSLV C58 or ExpoSat mission, which was launched on January 1st. It saw the successful injection of all the satellites into their desired orbits. And POEM-3 was configured with a total of 9 different experimental payloads to carry out technology demonstrations. And out of these 9, 6 payloads were delivered by non-government entities, that is NGEs, through InSpace. Okay. through in space. This poem platform helps perform in-orbit experiments using the final stage of ISRO's rocket, the PSLV. Okay. With reference to India's poem platform, consider the following statements. It is a platform that helps perform in-orbit experiments using the final stage of geostationary satellite launch vehicle. No, it is not GSLV, it is PSLV. It was the first time the final stage PS4 stage orbited the Earth as a stabilized platform. This is right. Which of the above statements is are correct? This is correct. So B is the answer. With reference to India's satellite launch vehicles, consider the following statements. PSLV launch the satellites useful for Earth resources monitoring, whereas GSLVs are designed mainly to launch communication satellites. This is correct. Satellites launched by PSLV appeared to remain permanently fixed in the same position in the sky as viewed from a particular location on the Earth. This is false because it's not PSLV, it is GSLV, geosynchronous launch vehicle. Due to their geosynchronous nature, the satellites in these orbits remain to appear permanently fixed in the same position in the sky as viewed from a particular location on the Earth. So this is wrong. Which of the statements given above is correct? Second one is wrong, first one is right. That means this and this are gone. This is the answer. See, even if you do not know whether the first one is correct or not, just read the third statement. GSLV Mark III is a 4-stage launch vehicle. See, Mark III and 4-stage, this is wrong. Already it's given it's 3, and here it is saying it is 4. It is a 3-staged launch vehicle, right? So this is also wrong. Forest fires singe Telangana wildlife sanctuaries. So the context is Telangana is presently grappling with forest fires in Tadwai region of Eturu Nagaram Wildlife Sanctuary. So for the past 5 days, the fires in Eturu Nagaram Sanctuary have been raging, posing a serious risk to wildlife across Tadwai, Lingala, Medaram, Pedavenkatapur and Shapali. So this is a very unfortunate situation. However, for prelims, you need to learn some basics about Eturu Nagaram Wildlife Sanctuary because it's in news for this. Okay, so this Eturu Nagaram Wildlife Sanctuary was declared as a wildlife sanctuary in the year 1953, and the sanctuary is located near the border of Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Telangana. Alright, and perennial river Dayam Vago flows through this beautiful sanctuary, and this actually separates the wildlife sanctuary into 2 parts. The river Godavari also passes through the sanctuary, and the sanctuary is actually famous for the Samakka Saralama Jatara, one of the Asia's largest tribal festival that takes place every 2 years. And coming to the vegetation, this region falls in the tropical dry deciduous type of vegetation. And coming to the flora, the sanctuary is rich in growth of teak, bamboo and other trees like terminalia. And climbers have unique features and are found in abundance across length and breadth of the sanctuary. Coming to the fauna, Indian gaur and giant squirrel are the keystone species of the sanctuary. Indian gaur and giant squirrel. And this wildlife sanctuary is also the dwelling ground for tigers, leopards, jackals, sloth bear, panther, wolf, wild dogs, and sambar. Alright, these are some important points for prelims. Consider the following statements with reference to Eturu Nagaram Wildlife Sanctuary. Eturu Nagaram Wildlife Sanctuary was declared as a wildlife sanctuary in the year 1953. True. Eturu Nagaram Wildlife Sanctuary is located in Telangana, Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra. Yes. Dayam Vago river flows through Eturu Nagaram Wildlife Sanctuary, dividing it into 2 parts. Yes. Which of the above statements are correct? All of them are right. D is the answer. Consider the following. Which of the above are released into atmosphere due to the burning of crop or biomass residue. Carbon monoxide, methane, ozone, sulfur dioxide, all of them. Okay, and you should also know, this is like a tidbit, you should also know about Mars, not the planet. It is methane alert and response system. United Nations has decided to set up the satellite-based monitoring system called Mars. So it is for tracking methane emissions. And it was launched as part of 27th Conference of Parties of UNFCCC in Egypt. Just remember this. Supreme Court oversees conservation efforts for the Great Indian Bustard. So this is the news snippet. The context is that recognizing the urgent need to mitigate threats to the Great Indian Bustard population, particularly from overhead power lines, the Supreme Court has undertaken measures to strike a balance between conservation efforts and renewable energy generation in the regions inhabited by these birds. All right. So, in 2021, the court actually issued a landmark judgment mandating the installation of bird diverters on existing overhead power lines in the Great Indian Bustard habitats. Okay, and additionally, it is also considered the possibility of undergrounding power lines for future projects. So, what did the Supreme Court say? It is mandated bird diverters and undergrounding of power lines. Okay, this happened in 2021. Now, why did it come over again in news? It's because in 2024, concerns were raised by renewable energy companies regarding the practical and financial implications of the court's decision, prompting further deliberations. So, what happened on March 21st? Acknowledging the complexities of the issue, the Supreme Court established a 7-member committee tasked with proposing conservation measures for Great Indian Bustard. Now, some basics about Great Indian Bustard. The IUCN status is critically endangered, and it is an Indian bustard found in obviously Indian subcontinent. It is among the heaviest of the flying birds, and it looks like ostrich. Okay, and the Desert National Park is one of the most important sites related to Great Indian Bustard. So these are some basics. What was mandated by Supreme Court's landmark judgment issued in April 2021 regarding the existing overhead power lines in Great Indian Bustard habitats? Installation of underground power lines? Yes. Installation of bird diverters? Yes. These were said by the Supreme Court, right? Removal of power lines? No. Expansion of power lines? No. Which of the above statements are incorrect? 3 and 4 are incorrect, right? With reference to India's Desert National Park, which of the following statements are correct? It is spread over 2 districts. Yes. District of Jaisalmer and Barmer. So 1 is correct. There is no human habitation inside the park. See, inside national park, human activities are not allowed. However, villagers have been living in this national park but with no basic rights. So in 2017, Supreme Court ordered the government to provide some facilities to them. So no human habitation, this is wrong. Okay, it is one of the natural habitats of Great Indian Bustard. Yes. So 1 and 3 are correct. Select the correct answer. So C is the answer. This is it for today. All the best.